Babes in Spyland. How now, sad cow. Episode 3. Agent Amphibian Queen cursed under her breath. I heard that, Agent Bunnynose said over the speaker on the phone. Don't do what I just did. Amphibian Queen winced as the undercarriage of the SUV scraped along a large jutting rock. I hope we got good insurance on this one. Nothing is leaking, Bunnynose said. Yet. Agent Amphibian Queen flexed her fingers on the steering wheel, trying to keep them from locking in place. Even with the air conditioning on full blast, sweat trickled down her face and neck, causing her to shiver and stink all at the same time. She hated bad smells. She should have brought one of Sci-Fi's car air fresheners. One of the normal ones, she amended in her head. She narrowed her eyes and traced the path of what she hoped would be the smoothest way around the next corner. Coming in had been bad. How could traveling in this direction be so much worse? Hold on, she told Bunnynose. I think I see it this time. Uh-huh. Amphibian Queen could hear the strain in her partner's voice. She didn't dare look back for more than a second, and besides, with all of the dust billowing around them, she couldn't make out Bunnynose's face anyway. It was probably set in one of her looks of grim determination. Bunnynose had a lot of those. The deep divots in the road before her had Amphibian Queen clenching her teeth together and holding her breath. She maneuvered the SUV to the far left side of the dips and got her right wheels on the island of raised dirt between the trenches. It was wide enough, but would it hold the milk-filled truck behind her? She kept the gas steady and willed the SUV to go around the corner without bouncing or slipping into the deep tracks. Looks good, Bunnynose said. Amphibian Queen risked a glance back and saw the larger truck gently following in her tire treads. How's the sloshing going? Bunnynose grunted. I'm trying to ignore it. Even though this was one of the dumbest assignments they'd ever been given, Amphibian Queen still felt the need to do it well. And even though she wanted to reach through the phone and slap mud, a sensation she'd only felt once or twice before, as opposed to Bunnynose's once or twice a week, she wanted to make this happen. Driving Happy Milk to a chocolate factory had never come up on her to-do list, but she was determined to get it there on time and in one piece. Lucky for her, Agent Bunnynose had even more loyalty to the cause than she did. Sure, the grumbling only stopped when the fighting started, but she couldn't ask for a better partner. Together they got things done. Their methods could perhaps be a bit questionable, but results are what mattered. Are we there yet? Bunnynose asked. Amphibian Queen consulted the GPS. Just a few more turns, maybe a mile. We're never going to make it at this speed. I can go faster, but can that truck? Amphibian Queen glanced at the clock. 30 minutes. Bunnynose was right. They weren't going to make it. Bunnynose spoke. Do it. I'll keep it together back here. Amphibian Queen shook her head and took a deep breath. Okay. She gave the gas pedal a push, and the SUV lurched forward, the tires grabbing at the loose dirt. The next turn loomed ahead, closed in by rock walls on either side, as if someone had scooped a giant handful of stone out of the middle of the hill and left a narrow slit of a road behind. Wide gutters, carved by water, lay on each side of the track. She bit the inside of her lip, then saw her path. Going faster might actually help. Maybe. Or she could be deluding herself. She rubbed her hands on the wheel again and gave it more gas. It worked. She got around the turn and immediately hit washboards. Not great for the milk. Punch it, Bunnynose. Her voice jiggled as she spoke, matching the bouncing of the vehicle. Go fast over these washboards. Sounds like fun. Amphibian Queen slowed down and watched. She'd told Bunnynose to go fast, but she hadn't been prepared for how quickly the truck suddenly loomed close in her rearview mirror. You should move, Bunnynose said. On it. Amphibian Queen gunned it. As soon as the SUV's front wheels got to the end of the washboards, they found a patch of soft dirt and spun. Without traction, the back wheels took over and the whole vehicle veered to the right. Amphibian Queen turned into it, like you did on an icy road. That should have given her some control, but it didn't. Instead, the SUV jerked one way, then the other. Turning with it didn't help, and before she had the sense to take her foot off the gas, the vehicle leaped forward and to the right. The guys back at the Happy Cow farm probably heard her swearing. Fishtailing, the SUV whipped around the next corner too fast. Amphibian Queen tried to get the wheel to cooperate, but by the time she pulled it in the correct direction, the front bumper was headed straight for a 6-foot-high wall of stone. The hood of the vehicle dipped out of view right before the wheels went off the road and landed in the trench. The front bumper hit the rock hard, denting and crumbling toward her. The airbag, just doing its job, smacked Amphibian Queen with all the subtlety of a stampeding elephant. It grabbed her left hand and shoved it into the window. She felt her sunglasses bury themselves into her face. That was going to leave a mark. For a moment she sat pressed into the seat. Then the airbag deflated with a hiss. An irritated cry of pain escaped before she could stop it. Airbags saved lives, but left marks. "What was that?" Bunny Nose asked, right before she said, "Oh, hell." Amphibian Queen turned her head so she could see out the passenger window. The large, rusty, happy milk-filled truck bore down on her like a rolling boulder coming from the top of a mountain. She saw the wheels lock and the jittering of the vehicle as it jerked and slowed. Whether it would stop in time was a matter of debate that Amphibian Queen didn't have time to contemplate. She grabbed her phone and leaned as far away as she could, awaiting impact. It never came. After a second of profound silence, Amphibian Queen opened her eyes and turned her head back toward the truck. The old, cracked headlights sat inches away from her passenger door. Bunny Nose, her face white and her eyes wide, had one hand over her mouth. "Are you okay?" they both asked at the same time. Amphibian Queen breathed. The fine powder from the airbag hit the back of her throat and she coughed. She fumbled for the handle and pushed the door open, but when she tried to get out, she was unable to move. Had she broken something? One look down and she discovered she still had her seatbelt on. Once that obstacle had been removed, she spilled out, using her grip on the door to keep herself more or less upright. The milk truck's door opened with a mournful squeal, and Bunny Nose ran around to her partner. "Queen, are you okay?" she asked, sliding to a stop. "Fine," Amphibian Queen said between coughs, waving a hand. "Just the stupid road." Her lungs seized up and she felt her allergies kicking in. She'd be wheezing for an hour because of that stupid dust. Stupid dust, stupid allergies, stupid party, stupid road, stupid SUV, stupid milk. Could this day get any more ridiculous? She felt her throat getting thick. Wait, was she about to cry? Oh no. Goodness, no. Super secret agents did not cry, especially over stupid things like airbags and sloshed milk. Crying was only allowed after the deaths of small animals, destruction of nice guns, and bad haircuts. Maybe Bunny Nose wasn't the only one who needed a snack. Bunny Nose studiously looked away and surveyed the scene. Now that she had something visceral to deal with, her grumpy mood fell away, replaced by her usual efficiency. Stepping back to look under the front wheels, she whistled. "I don't think we can get that back out." Amphibian Queen took a steadying breath. Managing not to cough, swallowed her emotions and moved to the back of the SUV. Somehow, she'd managed to land the vehicle perpendicular to the road. The hood lay crumpled against one side of their path, and the tail sat more than halfway into the other lane. "You'll never get the truck by." Walking around, Bunny Nose folded her arms over her chest and cocked her head to one side. "I could ram it." "Sloshing," Amphibian Queen reminded her partner. "Gently." Amphibian Queen pointed at the rust-ridden bucket. "In that?" Bunny Nose made a face. "Ish?" They looked at each other and then said in unison, "Piece of cake." It was sort of their motto for situations like this. Whenever people in movies said "piece of cake," the floor would inevitably fall out from underneath them. Just one of life's cruel ironies. For whatever reason, none of their assignments ended up being cakewalks. Unless burning molten lava cake with spikes that flew out of the walls and boulders rolling down tunnels counted. Sadly, there was never any cake at the end, and pretty much every time they went on a mission, at one point or another they hit level 1. The point where someone else had said, "piece of cake," and left Amphibian Queen and Bunny Nose to clean up the mess. Bunny Nose moved back toward the truck. "I'm going to try to push it." She waved Amphibian Queen over. Amphibian Queen took a step to follow, but the world tilted, and she had to use the SUV to steady herself. Pain throbbed through her left hand, where it had smacked into the window. Stupid airbags. She was going to have whiplash and a headache for days. Blinking a few times, she righted herself. When a voice sounded from above her, she wondered if she had a head injury. "You ladies need some help?" Pure instinct kicked in, and Amphibian Queen's good hand darted to her side, retrieving her gun. She aimed at the top of the rock she'd just rammed into. Bunny Nose followed suit. The cowboy from the Cloud 9 store stood on the rock, looking down at them. arms folded over one another, resting on a knee. He blinked at the two drawn weapons, but made no move of panic. For a moment, no one twitched. Amphibian Queen didn't even breathe. The cowboy broke the silence. I knew I recognized you. He looked at Amphibian Queen. You're Peyton Chen. You were in the Olympics a few years ago. That's what he decided to say while at gunpoint? He was right, but still. Yeah, that's me. Nice shooting. He smiled, then returned his attention to the SUV. Looks like you're stuck. He jerked his thumb over his shoulder. I have a winch. I can pull you out lickety-split. He glanced back and forth between them. A winch? Would that work? Amphibian Queen tried to think even as her bad hand began to shake. Bunny Nose didn't say anything, nor did she lower her weapon. The cowboy straightened. Or I can go. This guy didn't seem to care that he had deadly weapons pointed at him, which made Amphibian Queen wonder if he was a bad guy, or just a guy in the right place at the right time. Agent Bunny Nose uncocked her pistol. You can get us out? Yes, ma'am. He tipped his hat to her and grinned. 5 minutes, tops. Bunny Nose lowered her weapon. You do it in 4, and I'll buy you dinner.